Have you heard of what they call the MATRIX REINCARNATION soul trap?
In this hangout, we are going through a new Eric Dubay video where he talks about not wishing to reincarnate in this matrix again. This creates a massive contradiction on Eric's part, yet we agree that we are reincarnating in a virtual world. Eric's worldview is that of Kabbalism. Our view comes from the Bible and other holy scriptures that the Vatican removed. Tonight, you get to choose whether or not the Kabbalist path of out of this world or the Christian path to stay in this world is for you.
You will not have peace, and from now on you will not ascend up into the heavens for all of eternity. And it has been decreed that you will be bound to the earth for all of the days of eternity. And before this, you will have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and you will not be able to enjoy them, but they will fall before you by the sword. And your petition will not be granted in respect of them or in respect of yourselves.
I just wanna get it right.
perhaps this world isn't 100% perfect in the sense of how all religions praise the Creator as being wholly benevolent and good. But what I see is a world of disease, aging, torture, death, natural disasters, psychopaths, parasites, carnivores. There are so many things that happen in this world that if I was the creator, I wouldn't put them in the world, especially if I wanted to create a perfect world.
It's not often that Flat Earth, Reincarnation, and the Matrix show up in one live stream, but they are tonight. I'm your host, Jason of Awake Souls, and I'm joined by the limitless one, Ronnie Harris. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm really looking forward to going into this information tonight. It was a great week. It was a good ending to my week, and I'm looking forward to tonight. Thank you to everybody that's tuning in right now, and thank you to everybody in the future as well that took the time to watch this. I do know that Eric does have a lot of followers, and they're going to be clicking on this. So welcome. We don't mean anybody harm. All we bring you tonight is the truth, and I'm going to warn people. There might be opportunities where you are going to be triggered. We are going to be bringing up triggering content. And I just want everyone to know that we do it from a place of unconditional love. We love Eric. He's a brother. We're all brothers here. We're all brothers and sisters. And tonight we just hope to give you a little bit of a description of what we see taking place throughout the, what would you call them now? The non-spiritual, spiritual movement?
I don't know. We'll probably end up with a label by the end of this. There is something new going on that we're going to be going through and covering it. Eric brought it up. He put out a new video, and it's got 16,000 views on it already. So maybe you've already seen it, or if you haven't seen it, you're going to see it tonight because we're going to be going through it. It's not going to be our typical, smash and dash type hangout. In fact, there's a couple of key points that we agree on with Eric. In fact, if only he would actually be open to having a discussion, right? Because as many people have seen, we're able to go on to the Baby Truther show. We behave ourselves. We're not going to just lash out at people. I think people have a false perception of the way we interact with people. We would like to talk to Eric because, there's his whole spiritual new agey aspect to him. I think a lot of people understand. I was on that road when Flat Earth came along, so I can super hang with him on a lot of these topics. And so if we want to talk about matrices and we want to talk about reincarnation, why can't we have that discussion with him? Why do we have to just cover what he's saying and go through it and show people what we can prove, what we can't prove? Why does it have to be like this? Why can't we just have the open conversation with them? It's discouraging. I wish we could, but it's not going to be a big attack session. There's going to be a lot of things that we agree with. So he was one of those guys when Flat Earth came along. I know that you were sort of more inclined to the Pat Steer and the Mark Sargent crew, and I was more inclined towards the Eric Dubay crew.
No, that's a little incorrect.
Well,
it wasn't Pat and Mark. Me and Mark never got along. I didn't care for his videos ever. It was Math Powerland.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Who I took the Flat Earth information from, which was mostly disinformation, which was like basically, we don't want to get into that, but I mean, so we are doing things from a different position now. I'm not going to be banging the desk anymore. We're going to be doing everything out of kindness and out of love for the truth. And like you had brought up before, I do have a history with Eric. As soon as I realized that the AE map model was impossible, I started reaching out to Eric. I made every attempt possible. And then I had to ramp up the content. I had to bang the desk. I had to take it to positions where I would do anything to be heard. And unfortunately, Eric continues to sit in his side of the fence and take pot shots at us whenever he can, like reincarnation, bad creator. And also he throws in the New World Order diet, which was a video that I put out a few years ago when we started doing the research on what happens to the long-term effects of being a raw vegetarian in most senses. And we started to show people that it was the New World Order. It was the Satanists that were promoting this vegan diet, and they still are. It's promoted heavily all over the place. And so Eric will come out and take a shot and say the carnivore diet is the other side of the coin. Well, we've been explaining to people that it's a balance. It's a balance that you need. We know that they take things too far one way and too far the other way. And what we'd really like to do is just show Eric a bit more of a perspective as to the simulation or the virtual reality that he's in. There was rules, there was things that were put in place. We were to learn from them. And if Eric wants to deny those things, we got to at least show him, hey, let's look at this. This is what this says. This, you can't just go off and create your own reality without at least doing and honoring the one you were created in. For anyone to think that they're going to walk away from their life review with angels, if you think you're just going to turn your back on the higher powers, you're absolutely going to be led to this really bad position, right? Now, I'm conflicted with this knowledge that there's people with heavy influence out here that are promoting that you are to deny the creator and the creator's messengers. This opens up what could be some of the most disastrous advice that we've ever seen online. When we saw the video and we watched it, was it this morning? When did he put it out? Last night? It's new, right?
Yeah, it's like a day old, maybe.
When I saw it, I was like, awesome, because we definitely like to talk about near-death experiences. We like to talk about reincarnation. It's something that we've been doing here, and karma and all these things, and praying and meditating and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of the woodwork comes Eric Dubay with his take on it. And I was just floored. And again, brother, tonight, I have no hatred in my heart for Eric. I think he did a great job coming out and being a flat earth promoter, paving the way for a lot of people. Eric was the guy that went on the radio shows. He led the way. He did a great job. Unfortunately, we did find out that the stuff that Eric was promoting was disinformation, right? He could have corrected course and stopped promoting things that we can't prove, like ice walls and domes and all these other things, but he hasn't. So tonight, I hope to, through calm, patience, and through just my experience of what I've seen in this realm, I'd like to offer Eric another perspective that I hope that he'll actually take into account. And I know people don't want advice when they don't ask for it, but I'd like to, out of the kindness of my heart, just take tonight to give Eric the best of me. I'm going to be calm. This is something that I'm really looking forward to, Jason, because we both enjoy the topic of reincarnation, as well as the simulation / virtual reality that everybody's talking about. So again, this isn't an attack on Eric. We're done with that. Now, are we going to call out the lies and disinformation? Absolutely. We are never going to stop doing that. But we don't make the content that we do and we don't follow it. See, this is the thing. If we put out a teaching like we're going to be kind to people, we're going to think before we act, we're going to actually have to do it. We hold ourselves accountable for the things that we say. And tonight, I'm just going to take a different approach. I'm super excited for tonight, Jay. And that's my rant, man. I'm ready to do this. I can't wait.
No, that's cool. So you mentioned the R word, and Simon the Looper in the chat mentioned the R word. All right, that being reincarnation. And I think a bunch of people, if you're a Dubay follower and you're over here going, what are these guys going to say negative about Eric Dubay? I think you're going to be surprised to find out that we are the Christians that support the fact that the Bible talks about reincarnation. And so we have one absolute rock solid, undeniable example of it, that being with John the Baptist. No.
It's not even going to let us stream. It'll be a first, right? Well, not the first. When we took out the Cerveza thing, they took us down. I got 2 strikes in one night for that. But I mean, we're not even live now. This is just us talking.
No, we are live now.
Let's tell everybody the behind the scenes talk, right? Eric, that unbelievable guy, right? That tiny hat hating flat earther that believes he's in a simulation, right? So what I was saying, I'll get back onto my topic here, is that we understand that we're alive, right? And the creator that gave us this life is due respect. It's like spitting in the face of your father, your dad. I mean, your earthly dad. Why would you do that? Even if you disagree with some of the decisions that dad has made for you, you still honor him, right? This is good moral, good karma. And so what we see is a pitfall being laid for people, and we definitely see heavy links and ties and chains going back to no other than Mark Passio, right? We see that everything gets flipped and inverted. That's what they do. And people eat it up because they give you half truth, and then they guide you off to the path of destruction. And Jason and I are just here to ease people back in the direction that we see. This is our evidence, what we've collected, what we stand upon is what we share with the rest of the world in the realm. And we do it with the responsibility that we're held accountable for every word that we say. It's very, very serious. Life can be so much fun and so beautiful. And then on the other side of things, life can also be very serious. It can be, your consequences are eternal. We're talking about eternity here. We're talking about once you pass away from this fleshly body, if you do, you're going to be met with a choice. And what Eric's leading people to is just say, you turn around and walk away from the creator as he comes to talk to you, to let you know, hey, this is what's going on. You're just going to turn around and say, I'm going to my own room, but I'm going to create over here. And the people that agree with me are going to come. This is what Eric is proposing. And we'd like to show you guys that there's some serious error in his what he's sharing with people. It's crazy. It's an error in my mind. How can someone be so intelligent, so spiritual, so connected to truth, but yet miss some of the most important parts of it? That we have to honor who created us first. Before you're going to get to go and create your own realm, you're going to have to learn how to be righteous and abide by the rules in this one. And if Eric is going to come out here and say that he's perfectly sinless and then he's this righteous, outstanding citizen, I'm going to need to see evidence of that. Eric claims that he won't eat meat because he loves animals. Where's the videos of Eric loving on some animals, right? Because all I see is projection from him, and I'd like to bring that up, and I hope he's watching right now. There's a good chance that he is. And everything that we're going to share tonight is just for evidence for the whole entire realm, all of the heavens and all of the earth to witness with us. That's it.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
I was talking about reincarnation when the power went out. And so here we have something that we're aligned with. So we are the guys that have been talking about being in a matrix, and then we've been talking about how in this matrix reincarnation is a real thing, that it's something in the Bible. It can't be denied. You'd have to deny what the Christ said about John the Baptist and that Elijah is coming again before his second return. So we are Christians that show that there's at least one for sure example of reincarnation in the Bible. Now we could look at a whole bunch of other scriptures that you can deduce it, but nothing just speaks it like that situation does. So we are for reincarnation, we are for being in a matrix, and then we have Eric, who was a flat earther before I was, right? So I learned the fake flat earth from Eric, and he promotes the model that's purely materialism based. All right, so the Freemason New World Order AEMAP model is the Kabbalist version of a flat earth, because what it does is it makes the world material. Now all of a sudden you either have to have an ice wall or you have to have a dome, because you have to have some sort of a container on a circular flat earth. Then all of a sudden it becomes a Truman Show. There's a structure. There's an actual physicality to a roof system, right? There's got to be trusses and girders, or thick ice, or iron, or periodite or whatever the dome's supposedly made of, now all of a sudden it is a physical structure. They need that in order to have the fake flat earth, the circular one. There has to be some sort of a roof, a containment system. And so then he has the sun, moon, and stars doing circles around a single polar point. And that right there makes you go into materialism again. Now all of a sudden the sun is an object. The moon is an object. The stars are objects that now all of a sudden you have to visualize them being suspended in air or attached to the ceiling or something like that are doing orbits in a circular fashion around a single polar point. So when we figured out that the Freemason New World Order AE map and model didn't work, one of the first things that we realized is this is the Kabbalist version of flat earth. It still requires materiality, because once you recognize in this world that a stereographic map works way better, in fact better than any globe map ever has. So stereographic maps, and then you start looking at other factors like clouds behind the sun and eclipse shadows and all these other types of things. Then you can actually see the evidence that we're in a virtual reality. All right, so we've been sharing that information all along, fighting against the fake flat earth. And here he comes out talking about the matrix soul trap, right? Reincarnation wise. So these are literally topics that have been our wheelhouse. The fact that we're in a matrix, that it's a simulation, a virtual reality. It's not the physical realm of the AE map model. And we've been talking about the fact that the scriptures actually prove and support reincarnation. So why is it that Eric doesn't want to talk to us if he's interested in, if this is what he thinks is going on? But you'll see, we're going to go through his video and you're going to see his position. He hates the creator from the Bible. He really does. You're going to see it. He thinks that he would be a much better creator than the creator from the Bible. And so he's teaching his people a different way out of here. Now we're going to be showing people tonight from the scriptures that that's such a vain idea. It's ridiculous. The idea that you're just going to be able to make the choice to walk away from what you've got yourself into, it's not happening in the scriptures. So a lot of the people that follow Eric are going to not like the fact that we're quoting scriptures. I just want to remind you right now that all the people that Eric prefers you to go to, the Buddha, these types of characters, they don't claim to be the creator of the world. The Buddha didn't say he created the world. He taught a path to enlightenment. He didn't say, on the first day I did this, on the second day I did this, on the third day I did this. There's none of that. So his doctrines, all the things that he goes to as far as the ancient Eastern cosmologies being like the true Hebrew cosmology, that type of stuff. The fact is that the Bible, the Holy Scriptures, actually, not only did it say that we're on a fixed, motionless earth, right, and that it's the sun and moon doing rotations around the observer, it also said it has four corners. It also says why it was created, why we're in the condition that we're in right now as far as all the evil things that he sees and recognizes, and what this is all for, and how long that's going to last, and what the outcome's going to be at judgment time. So it's not like the creator of this world didn't leave behind an outline as far as what's going to take place and how to be on which side when that time period comes. He just doesn't want that outcome. He wants to be on the other side. So we'll get into that as we really start breaking down the stuff that he's talking about in his video.
Just like one of the last main points that I want to bring up is when you get to this point where you're having your life review, right, and you try Eric's way, if you say, screw you to the creator, you turn around and walk away, give your back to him, I'm going to let you guys know that that's not going to go over well. We want to arm you with the true way to be. That's to be on your knees, repentant, and ask anyone that visits you in the other realm, who are you and who do you serve? And what are you doing here? You ask these questions, you get the right answers, you can proceed forward. This whole soul trap that's being tied together with creation is an absolute inversion of reality, right? These are people that are being influenced by demonic spirits, right? They're working through them. And Eric is subject unto it as well. And so is all the other people in his network. Mark Passio, the ordained Anton LaVey witch, priest of the Church of Satan and the Order of the White Knights. He's got all these different names. The Church of White Satan. We want to let people know is when you get to that spot where they're talking about, you don't want to try to be some illegitimate child that says, no, I don't need you. I'm going to go create my own world. Because listen, if Eric can show me how this realm was created, right, why it was created, if he can depict all these things and show me the powers that he possesses, then I could tell him, yes, you go and build your realm and I'll come check it out too. But unfortunately, Eric Dubay is just another person like me and Jason that grew up in the realm. He has an inflow of information and he makes choices and programs run. And he has a serious influence in a lot of people, and it had to be talked about tonight. It's not exactly what we always want to talk about. But again, Jason brought up reincarnation, karma, mind wipes, having your mind wiped. So we can look at these things as an inversion. The other side is going to tell you, oh, they did that, that just nullifies everything. It's an error now in creation because you don't remember your past lives. What would the point of karma be? But if you look at it, it's like another opportunity, another chance. You don't have to live under the guilt. What if you were a bad person in the last life and you get brought back and you're wiped and we're born again? We were told by the Christ. The smartest man in all of the realm went to him and said, how is it that I enter into your kingdom? And he looked at him and said, you must be born again and again and again. The only way you're going to get into the kingdom is when you're born again. And people miss this in Christianity. A lot of the things that have been inverted in Christianity, Jason and I have found to be true. Right? Reincarnation is a Christian teaching. It's what they were running around telling the people 2,000 years ago. Listen, you can find enough evidence that the disciples and people that followed were brutally murdered. They went joyfully to their brutal death. The guy that told them that you're going to live forever, even if you die, you will be born again, he told them. I promise you. He died and was resurrected back to life, and not by someone else's accord. Elijah didn't jump on top of him and start beating his chest. Lazarus didn't have a stone roll across. It all happened on his own accord. There was nobody that had to do anything. And this is the guy that told us, the living person that told us the way to ascension. He was the first ascended being. He came back in an ascended body, right? There's multiple verifications of these documents. And if we're to try to look any other place than that, we're going to be left without the truth.
Yeah, so we've got the Matrix Resurrection Soul Trap to go through, everyone. That's going to be a key term. There's a new little group. It's just a tiny little group that's pushing the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap, and Eric's the biggest name out of it for sure. So we'll as we get into the video, you're going to see that there's going to be so much that we have to talk about. And then what you'll see by the end of all this is that it's going to come down to two paths for you to choose from, everyone. So Eric's going to offer a path where we're in a matrix, right? And you're not going to have to reincarnate here anymore, and you're going to be able to skedaddle. You can just go off to your own universe. You can be your own God, and he wants you to join him in his world that he's going to create. So there's that path, and then there's the biblical path where we take the creator as that Old Testament creator, and we see the reason why all the things exist in the world right now, the reasons for them, and that it's a testing period, that there is a judgment coming, and the people that pass that test are then going to be welcomed into eternal life in this world, where death, pain, suffering, all those things are going to be wiped out. They will be no more. So it's going to be an entirely different type of existence from that point on. Now, if you don't pass that test, the Creator is also very clear that he is he's going to be wroth. There is a judgment, and it's going to be severe, like more severe than most people can even imagine. So we work really hard to be on the team that's going to make it into that new world, and we share that information with as many people as we can, and we warn people about going down the wrong path. So the problem with Eric's path is that it's not going to take you to the path that brings eternal life. But we got to get into what he's talking about, what this matrix reincarnation soul trap is all about, right?
That's crazy. It's crazy to call creation a soul trap. It really is, and we bring Loosh. We talk about all the things that are throughout the realm, the fear porn, everything. We discuss it all, and we do it from a true stance. We don't use any. Jason and I aren't saying that we're the creators. We're not telling you that we're going to create our own little realm off in here. No, we're saying we're going to do everything that it's outlined, that the spirit had prophesied. This is the way that it works. The creator influences people here to do his will, the people that ask to do it. And it's been done, and it's going to continue to be done. And again, I just hope that on Judgment Day, Eric stands beside us and we walk on into the millennial reign together with him by our side. That's our goal here. And everyone else that tunes in, we want to see you guys forever too. Like, there's going to be like Kingdom Book and Kingdom Tube, and there's going to be sports, and everything is going to be, we don't have to eat animals anymore, right? All these things are going to be fixed, as long as you don't take your own path where you decide that you're some creator god. Because if you read the scriptures, you'll see one of the first lies was that you are like the creator. You are this powerful, all created being. And absolutely, we're not. We're learning. We're just children. That's it. Thanks, brother. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm going to take us over into screen share. Whoops, I got to do this. And this and this. All right, so all the settings were whacked out because of the reboot, but you should be seeing what we're going to be going through here. We've got Eric's new video. I'm not familiar with the guy that he has with him, but we can chase a few links that Eric left, depending on how much time that we have. Let me get this resized a little bit more. We're pretty close. Alright, so I'm just going to show you, this is the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap, Eric Dubay. It doesn't show the time right now as far as when it was published, but it was real recent. And what we'll do is I'm going to start playing this, and then brother, you just tell me when to stop. I'll stop at different places, and yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
They call the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap.
Yes, I actually have.
Let me plug a few channels which have been doing excellent work on this subject. Forever Conscious Research channel, the Overwatch channel, and Wayne Bush at trickedbythelight.com. Not sure if he has a channel or not. These three guys have been going into this subject a lot, which is basically looking at near-death experiences, looking at reincarnation stories of children who remember their past lives and the in-between stage between lives, as well as hypnotic regression therapists who have worked with hundreds of patients who regress them into past lives and or the in-between life state. So they're getting also psychedelic research, people doing DMT and ayahuasca and other psychedelics and accessing the dimension, the spirit world, the dimension between life and death, so to speak. So taking all of these areas of research that are regarding the in-between life state, also looking at things like the Egyptian and Tibetan books of the dead, which are about that they're books that the relatives of the recently deceased would read to the corpse to help them on their transition into the next life or into whatever happens next.
Don't the Tibetans have a very interesting sort of similar post-death practice there as well?
Yeah. The ancient world seemed to have quite a unified stance on this, but it's been
Native
broken up
Americans as well.
Right. And the stance that has been since kind of wiped from the slate, unless you do this kind of Gnostic research to piece it all together, is basically that perhaps this world isn't 100% perfect in the sense of how all religions praise the creator as being wholly benevolent and good, but what I see is a world of disease, aging, torture, death, natural disasters, psychopaths, parasites, carnivores. There's so many things that happen in this world that if I was the creator, I wouldn't put them in the world, especially if I wanted to create a perfect world.
All right, so that was our clip from the intro, and it's a good place to stop and sort of see what's going on here. He mentioned a number of reasons why a person would consider reincarnation. So these past life experiences, some people have had them. Near-death experiences, some people have been out of body in those. People have been out of body in other situations. It's there's a number of ways that people can actually deduce that you're not the body, that you're a spirit that inhabits the body. And so those were great. And then he took it to like some Egyptian texts and stuff like that, reading stuff to the dead. Nothing I've ever looked into or would be interested in looking into. There is enough proof that people are not the body, that you can be a spirit that goes in and out of these bodies. Now he's already really taken a position that this is an interesting one. You don't have too many people go out on the limb like this, and you could actually hear him be a little bit choked up saying it. But here he is saying that the creator of the world is not benevolent. The creator of this world is a bad guy, right? And that he would make the world much better. So he's saying how he could make this world better than what the creator of this world did. So those are interesting words coming from a creation to the creator, right? I don't know if we lost you. We can
No, well said. Yeah, keep going. Well said. I can't add anything better than that.
Why does a perfect world need natural disasters and animals that eat other animals to survive, or even to eat anything to survive? Why can't we remember our past lives or remember the in-between life state? Why is there this memory wipe associated with this world? Why do parasites and psychopaths exist? These are like, psychopaths have like different brain waves from other people, and they can't feel
they're spiritually
empathy.
different. Yeah.
They're spiritually different people.
Psychoactively or whatever you want to say, psychologically, quote unquote. We're talking in the more like suke, Greco sort of concept of psychology or the soul, because I mean, psychology is literally the study of the soul. They've just convinced the average simpleton in the street that psychology it's the study of your brain, because these people seem to think that all emotion, all rationale, all spiritual emotions, feelings, experiences, all of this is just chemicals firing in your brain, like little bits of electrical current firing with certain little bits of chemicals, and that's what your memory is. That's what that experience was. That's what your honor is. That's what your love is. That's what your patience is. All of these are just little chemical like differences and whatnot tweaking in your brain. It's very interesting to see how much, speaking of ancient Greeks, the religion of the ancient Greeks is one of the few things that would contradict what you were just talking about there, of the idea of the creator gods or gods being perfect in that sense. Greeks are one of the only groups of people that I can think of that their religious pantheon is actually very, very mortal in that sense, in terms of imperfections.
All right, so we need to do a little stop and breakdown here. He's taken the pantheons of the Greek gods, how their flaws, that type of stuff, how this is better. So it's the Greek mythology of materialism that's what it is it's Kabbalism. And so Pythagoras is recognized as being one of the earliest well-known Kabbalists. So they're the ones that teach materiality. And right here, he went through his nice debunk of the materiality. He was saying it's ridiculous to think that our thoughts, our emotions, love, all these types of things are just chemical reactions firing within the brain. So he's debunking materiality while promoting the group that's responsible for people believing in materiality. All right, so there is a massive contradiction there. You want to add anything, brother, or should we keep going?
Keep going.
To the point of like gross, fucking just ridiculous perversion and twistedness, dementedness. But I think that's honestly a far better representation of the sort of consciousness that would create this experience than what one might seem. I mean, you've created a book, you've written fiction.
So this guy is chiming in that the creator of this world has to be gross, absolutely gross, wicked, like evil, to create this world, right? So now we have both of them patting each other on the back with thinking that the creator of this world did an awful job and they could do better.
As well as actual nonfiction books. I mean, technically, Asbestos Head is very much more of like an allegorical work than necessarily true fiction. But still, I myself, having written a book there and having come up with entire fictional storylines and all this sort of stuff, there's conflict in there. There's struggle in there. There's things that aren't necessarily good. Right. But there has to be that bad for the good to overcome in order to make a good story. So I would say in that sense, it could make sense of why we collectively would have something like all of this negativity. It's just it feels like something people could give into. All
right. So and then he goes into an explanation of why we need the bad. Right. You got to have an explanation of why we would need the bad. And so they have their explanations for why we need the bad in this world. And that's, so that they can ascend or whatever. But we'll keep going.
As whether or not that's the case, or that's actual like energy vampires psychologically that have been parasitically feeding off of us this entire time through our negative emotion, through our suffering, through our obsession, then
I'm going to pause. So it's interesting that they interject that the bad creator God, right? And all this, and they both stand up and say they basically could do it better, and that evil was just to make the story better. But yet they failed to realize that some of the oldest books that we can read, it states that there was a group of beings that were trapped here, and they hate mankind, right? So when we start to understand that why there could always be this negativity and all this division and anger and hatred, we start to see that there's more of a plot to it. But if you're going to go on to the pantheon of Greek gods and you're going to deny let's just say the Book of Enoch, you're going to miss out at a very good, probably the best understanding that you're going to find with why there is so much wicked here. And the interesting thing is that the group of fallen angels that came here, that were trapped here, right? They had the same motive, the same motive that these guys have. They figured they could do it better, right? And they swore an oath that they were going to do this thing. And they were judged for it. And them and their children are still here, reincarnating, still here. And they have the exact same story that these guys are saying. They just wanted to create their own little inside Westworld. They thought that they were witnessing Westworld. The creator had created this place. He put mankind here, and the daughters were born unto the men, and they were beautiful. And the creators that helped, or the Elohims, the lower G's, helped create it. They came in here and started messing with it. And they're trapped here, and their descendants that were destroyed, right, are the things that troll mankind. So I just want to take that out because I don't understand these such well-learned, researched, reading men. They've both written books. They've got the credentials, but yet they want to not take a look at the possibilities as to why this place is so wicked, right? It really confuses me to see someone with this level of intelligence not to even reach the subject of there could be bad spiritual beings here feeding off of the loosh that they create, right?
Well, you're going to see that they're not oblivious to Christianity. In fact, it's going to be referenced a few times, I believe.
I could see it, honestly. With the way that the people that run this system act, it definitely feels like that's a serious possibility.
And that is what they use, it seems, to get us to consent to coming back to this world and this system over and over again, is this idea of karma, or the idea that...
All right, so it's going to get interesting now, because Eric's going to go on to explain this idea of karma and this idea of returning to this world. Now, I just got to point out once again, Eric is the vegetarian/vegan because of karma. Right? He doesn't eat animals because of karma. He's afraid of picking up that karma. That's the reason why he doesn't eat meat. So that goes back to Pythagoras. Let me just show you. Let me show you this tab real quick.
Pythagoreans.
Yeah, so it really didn't change that long ago. Although it starts out with humans abstain from eating animal flesh long before Pythagoras, though the first significant rise in vegetarianism based on principle likely occurred during classical times, the term vegetarian replaced Pythagorean on September 29th, 1847. So from the time of Pythagoras up until September 29th, 1847, if a person was a vegetarian, if they were not a meat eater, they were called Pythagoreans.
And did the Pythagoreans also, weren't they didn't prefer women? I'll say it kindly, because again, I'm trying to do all this out of the position of love.
Yeah, so it was a homosexual cult, and they are the ones behind the things like atomism and the things like heliocentrism. So
named Jehovah.
all of that stuff. And so he's talking about, he's not a vegetarian because he doesn't want to pick up that karma. That's the Pythagoreans. Remember, this is Kabbalism. And in Kabbalism, there is a fundamental belief in reincarnation. Right? So this is the reason so many Christians have thought that this is a pagan topic, right? Because it's the Pythagoreans that really have promoted, the Kabbalists have promoted this concept of reincarnation while it's been stripped from Christianity. So keeping that in mind now, he's going to now start to try to like whitewash karma, and but he's one of the strongest proponents of it. If you look at his content, he's very big on cleansing your karma, doing all these different yoga techniques. They're all supposed to be as part of cleansing your karma, not picking up bad karma. But now he's going to say that this is like a psyop topic. This is where it gets interesting.
We can do better, and that this is a school, and negativity exists because we need to learn from it. And there's some ultimate mission somewhere that ultimately we're able to graduate from, and then that's worth all this torture and death and disease and dying and natural disasters and psychopaths and memory wipes and parasites and having to consume beings to stay alive and all of this stuff that doesn't have to exist in our reality, but it does.
Yeah, let's remember, it doesn't have to exist, and it didn't exist. So if you go back to the origin of creation, it was a paradise where, it wasn't necessary to eat animals to survive. It wasn't necessary to drink. It wasn't necessary to do anything. In fact, they were naked and they were perfectly content. So, you can easily have a world just like that, but there was a fall, and then there was a change, right? You want to add anything, brother?
I'll wait until he finishes, but I definitely have something to add after this statement.
Okay.
Does. Yeah. We could, instead of our bodies beginning the way they do and slowly aging and succumbing to disease and torture and dying, we could live in a world in which your body becomes more and more like immortal, like Wolverine. What does he have? Not titanium, but adamantium. Adamantium. You know, we could have some.
The shout out to atoms, right? So that's Kabbalism 101, the belief in atoms, right there. So this is the Kabbalist perspective of being in the matrix and how reincarnation works.
Some sort of or gold or whatever the strongest,
or be
stuff.
Entirely spiritual beings that don't need a corporeal physical form and can exist entirely in that sense. Dude, no, I totally get you on that one. There's so many potentials and possibilities and ideas. I mean, the human imagination is nigh endless, if not actually endless. It's something that I feel like collectively we could come up with so much more interesting, so much better, so many better stories than what we are experiencing now.
Exactly. So
once again, these guys are going to promote that they could do it much better than the creator of this world. Did you want to add something, or do you want to let him say a little bit more, brother?
Yeah, he can say a little bit more.
Okay.
So why do we always come back here? Is this the only dimension in existence? Is this the only world there is to incarnate into? The only place souls can possibly go? Is this morally questionable place that has all these negative aspects that I'm saying? Like, there's nowhere in the multiverse that souls can go for actual peace. There's nowhere we can go where there's highly evolved soul, like no psychopaths, and just a bunch of like really empathetic, nice people that want to have a good time with their lives. Like, that doesn't exist anywhere in the multiverse that we can go. Like, I don't believe that.
All right. So what he's describing there, all these empathetic people in the multiverse that can chill out together in peace and harmony, that is what the Bible speaks of, but it doesn't take place until this time period's over. We have been reincarnating here, going through these trials and tribulations until the time that the judgment's going to take place. Then that time period is going to take place after that, while the people that are wicked are going to be judged. So yes, there is that world, just like it was originally created, that is going to be coming again.
I feel like we have been tricked, just like trickedbythelight.com or some of these channels I recommended are talking about, that we're being tricked to come back in.
So that's a website. He's got 3 links that he has been referencing. We'll see if we get to the time to go through those. But that's a website that references 2 of the links that he's been referencing. So there's a good chance that there's 2 content creators, one of which that has a website that promotes both of each. So it is a small crew, this group that he's talking about. I want to make sure everybody knows and understands that.
In here, and we keep consenting to it because a memory wipe is part of this process, this reincarnation process. And a few people have little glimpses where they are able to see the in-between life state or their past life. And
Have you ever had any experience like that? Sorry to interrupt. I'm just curious on that one.
I wish. No.
Yeah, same. I haven't at all either.
I have had a dream in which it was very real, more like than a normal dream, in which I felt like I was observing this plane from on high and about to incarnate. And like there's a bunch of other souls around me, and they were really excited about and concerned about the fact that I was going to incarnate here. Like it was a really dangerous thing for my soul to do, but in the dream I was all like I was not concerned about it at all, because I knew that this world was fake anyway.
I am here,
and that I'd eventually return.
Okay, so what Eric just outlined is quite interesting for me as an observer looking upon this from the third person perspective, he has this one vision. He said he's never had any reincarnation thoughts or understandings come to him, but he has a vision where he is above the plane of the earth, and a bunch of souls that are around him are worried about his incarnation here. Right? What I find super interesting about this is there's a good chance that they knew that that might be the last time that they were going to see Eric, right? So he's gone on and on and on about karma and this and that, and how he just wants to go to this place where they're not going to eat animals and they're just going to all be empathetic. They're going to love each other. The problem is I don't understand why I have to say this to Eric. But if you actually take a look at reality and you think, what is forever, right? How is forever? Like, it's a very long amount of time. There is no beginning or end to forever. So anything in this realm that you get that's worthwhile, you have to earn it, right? So there's this coexisting thing with karma is also experience, right? We gain things through experience, right? In the millennial reign, people are going to be put in positions that they earned. Everything is going to be just. And if we didn't have these things, if we didn't do these experiences, they just brush over these guys. If we didn't have the problems with the wicked and how we overcame it, if we didn't earn these things, what good would we be? What good is a king that's just given kingship? He doesn't earn it. It's a wasteful king. What good is anybody who hasn't gone? Listen, if somebody wants to give me advice on losing weight, I want to see that you've lost weight. Have you been skinny your whole life? Have you had a six-pack your whole life? You're going to tell me how to lose weight? No, you want to go to someone who's lost the weight. And this goes for every single thing in creation. Without experience, without going through things, we have nothing. And if we have forever, right, there's a reason that we're experiencing these things now. And to say that the mind wipe is this horrible thing, I mean, you don't even realize that. Do you know how painful it would be to remember past lovers? Do you guys understand the amount of grace that the Creator has in his heart, that he allows us to continue to do this? He allows us to be sinners. He allows Eric and this other gentleman here to mock him. He allows it, and he gives him free room to actually change his ways and come back. That's how great the Creator is. And he set everything up perfectly, specifically designed for exactly how it's going. And, you know, I don't understand. So when Eric, the last part that he said was there's a group of souls around him that were really worried about him. They didn't want him to come in here. And this is the glimpse that he got. And it sounds to me like a warning that they thought that might be the last time that they were going to see Eric again. And judging by him mocking the guy who created him, or the spirit, the Most High, the Lord of spirits, the Creator of spirits, it's got to be the quickest way to get put in condemnation, right? When you mock something that you completely don't understand, you put yourself up as an example of someone that's not, he's in a dangerous position, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so we have a question from the chat from Simon Loper. So are we saying John the Baptist lied in John 1? He most likely knew from his dad he was born with the spirit of Elijah, but he stated that he wasn't Elijah when confronted, and Elisha was already. So we've covered this multiple times. That situation, if you look at who he was talking to, he was able to deny being Elijah to them because he was John the Baptist. So that is the thing with reincarnation, that you can easily say that you're not the reincarnation of somebody because you're this person at the time, especially if it's a person that you don't necessarily want them to know, if you want to keep something hidden, if it's part of the secret, part of the plan. So it is clear that the understanding of reincarnation was to be lost, that there was to be this time period from Christ's time till our time where the Creator knew that the Vatican would come in and hide that information and keep it from themselves, and they would use that information for their own manipulation and power and all that kind of stuff. So we know how the Freemasons, the secret society people, they intermarry, they go through the bloodlines. This is all part of the reincarnation process, the reason why they're known for those things. We know that the Christ said that John the Baptist was Elijah returned and that he would come again. That we know for fact in the scriptures.
And not only that, he wore the exact same garments that were given to him by his dad before his dad was murdered. There's so much evidence that goes into that study, but that's a super deep study. We're not getting into biblical reincarnation truths right now, but yes, John the Baptist was John the Baptist. That's what his name was. My name is Ronnie James Harris, right? Jason William Laufenberg. These are our names, right? For someone to bring a...
Yeah, if somebody had the inclination that we were the reincarnation of one of these spirits, could we say, no, I'm Jason Laufenberg, or I'm Ronnie Harris? Yeah, you absolutely
that's could. Who we are. That's who we are. And again, I just want to keep on topic that, so Eric, his last statement that he made was that before he had one vision that's, out of time. And it was a group of souls that were around him. He was hovering above the plane of the earth, and they were saying, don't go. They were worried for him, right? Because the consequences of this realm are eternal. They're eternal.
Yeah, so this part of his story is that his coming back here was a choice. And that he thinks that he could choose differently. So this does become part of the story down the road, so it's important to note. We'll keep going.
Turn back to them anyway. And it just felt like really real. So I'm not sure if that was a memory or not, but
well, I've certainly had the feeling that I've been here before, and that there's so much beyond just the deja vu, although I have had serious strong stuff when it comes to that, of deja vu and all that. I haven't had past life experiences or anything, but I found that I've had really weird dreams that, like, several years later, just really benign events, normal conversations with people and stuff, like people that I haven't even met at the time, I'll have like dreams about and stuff, and it's that person in name and face and all this stuff, and I don't recognize them. I have no idea who the hell this person is, but then later I'll go through that exact situation, and those sort of experiences definitely make me feel as though time is much more of a fluid, sort of a plastic sort of a construct that is not actually as rigid as a lot of people like to think, or as linear as a lot of people think, because there's something about this existence that our spiritual...
Yeah, but...
He was trying to state non-linear, right?
Yeah, then you got to remember that Eric is the materialistic version of reality guy. He is the dome, ice wall, AE map guy. So here they are sitting there talking about being non-material. All right, well, he's the material guy. It's such a contradiction. I don't know why he feels like he can hold both positions of this being a matrix and that we're in a dome.
Being our core pre and post exists, or like is beyond in some way. And absolutely. I really wonder if that's not something to do with our ability to share with one another, because I this feeling of, again, through the music stuff, through the activism and everything, it feels like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, because not just because it's the right thing to do, but because there's something inside you that drives you to continue doing this. And I struggle to try and understand fully what that is. I'm sure you do. I'm sure anybody that's listening here struggles, especially during times like these, where having the alternate point of view can now land you the title of a terrorist, demon, thought criminal, monster, heretic, right? Where they're trying to goddamn imprison your ass over some words on the internet. Hold on a sec.
Let's get a pause. So I don't want to call this guy any of those words. This is a brother. These are brothers of mine. These are super intelligent guys that have taken the time to do research, learn a bunch of very important things. They care about karma. They care about being good people. But when you see someone sit up there and then mock the creator, this is where there's a huge contradiction in their statement. And if you watch how people choose words, the words that they say, how they speak them, the inflection in their voice, you can start to see the colors of their soul. When I hear people talk, I don't just see their physical body, right? I see the colors of their soul through their words. And I just want people to pay very close attention when people are talking to you, the words they choose, how they say them, the meaning behind the words. You have to listen to the pauses in between the words. These are the types of things if you want to start to understand who you're dealing with, right? And again, I have nothing against these brothers. I want them to find the full truth of the reason why they were created. And again, I'm super worried about them, both guys here.
But
So,
it's
let me read
a strange existence. Yeah.
this little summary I wrote. What if we are all actually infinitely powerful, unique, sovereign creators ourselves, with the ability to create whatever world, heaven, or afterlife we wish on our...
All right, so I just want to point out this is a written supposition by Eric. So he wrote this out, and he's qualified it as a supposition with a what if, right? So he's just throwing this out there. He's going to see what shit sticks to the wall.
On our own. But instead of creating and living in our own worlds, we're being tricked into reincarnating into someone else's creation here. A creation filled with pain, suffering, torture, death, natural disasters, disease, predators, psychopaths, parasites, no memory of previous lives, and many other things that I personally would never choose to have in my created world. I wonder if the returning to oneness Brahma concept could be a deception used by the creators of this realm to get us to give up our individuality and submit to going back into the light of oneness soup with all the other recycled souls. Have you seen the movie?
So just to point out, at a perfect time for me to bring up intonation, inflection, the way that people choose the words that they choose. He literally wrote that out. That was all scripted. But you can hear he's got this anger inside of him. He's hurt. Eric is very wounded inside. He's hurt. And I don't know what hurt him. I don't. And I wish I could actually sit down with Eric and have some coffee or whatever it is that he drinks, mango juice, and we could have a heart to heart. We could, and we could maybe see if we can get down to the root of what's really inside him that's hurting, because I feel pain. I hear anger, right? I hear so many things from him that there's absolutely no need for, right? He's better than this. He is.
Yeah, so it's his supposition, and this is interesting because he is breaking from the norm here on a massive scale. This is a schism that so now he's going against all the traditional Kabbalists out there, and now he's saying, what if going into the light is the trick? All right, so he's asking that question, that if we die and then there's that light there, instead of going into the light, let's reject it and go off and create our own worlds. That's the supposition. He'll get into a little bit more depth about that here.
Soul? It's a Disney movie?
No, yeah, it's a newer movie. I've seen the ads for it, but I haven't watched it yet.
So hold on. Eric, being the great researcher that he is going to give props and shout outs to a Disney movie? Again, this is... Okay, I just want to take this moment here. Anybody that tells you that you need to take drugs, right, to understand your reality, or that a Disney movie is going to give you some kind of spiritual truth that's going to guide you into your eternity, there's something, a red flag needs to go up. Okay, people, I don't know who's following along. I don't know who's tuning in now or in the future that follows along with Eric, but I really want people to be careful here. This is a guy that supposedly wrote all these conspiracy books. He sits on high levels of truth information. He's been doing podcasts since like 2012. I had a bunch of them, right? He's telling you that he gets his truth for eternity and eternal life from a Disney movie, right? There's a huge contradiction. And again, he's coming from a place super wounded. Eric hasn't done the inner work. He projects as this yogi, Zen master, but you can hear the pain in him. You can hear it. And I just don't think he realizes what he's doing.
Yeah, he probably doesn't. He probably doesn't.
It is kind of a truth bomb in this area, in that it gives a nice way of looking at what potentially could be happening in the in-between life state, and how we very well may be.
So the truth bomb, this matrix reincarnation soul trap, he's going to go into the truth bomb here. This is this new topic. It's a break off of people that are now saying, don't go into the light, walk away from the light, and create your own universe.
Yes. Not only can you walk away from the light, but you too yourself are the Most High. You are the creator God. That's what he's telling people, right?
Yeah.
Being tricked into going into the light, rather than maintaining our sovereignty and not consenting to any of these afterlife beings and their mandates that they make of us.
I just want to point out that sovereignty is a key word. If we go into one of his links, one of the guys that he's references goes into detail about that. So sovereignty, just remember that term, right?
Yeah, well, sovereignty, what was the other term that he used? You jaggered my mind there for a second.
I'm sorry.
What was he saying? Sovereignty is part of this natural law, right? And there's more to that, but I've lost it.
I think that's in his support link. So we'll get to it.
And this is the area of research that these people I recommended have been going into, where they're researching near-death experiencers and psychedelic researchers and hypnotic regression therapists, etc., and seeing all the commonalities between their experiences. And what seems to be happening is that when you first die, your consciousness becomes expansive. You think something, someplace, you are there instantly. So that means you have teleportation. That means, like you said, we don't need to have a physical body, but we still have sense experience. They can still think and see and hear things, but it's...
So here we're getting some talk about not needing a physical body, still being a spirit and being able to just go here, just go there. These are the things that are attributes of being in a virtual reality, and they are the debunks of a material realm. So once again, I just got to point out, why, Eric, do you fight so hard for the Freemason New World Order AE Mappa model, which is the materialistic model of a flat earth? Right?
It's expanded. They say their consciousness is expanded, and they travel at the speed of thought. And so this is just happening as they've died, and they're just recalibrating and understanding their new abilities as a sovereign soul. And what happens every time? A deceased relative, or a spirit guide, or an angel, or Jesus Christ, or Buddha, or Muhammad, or whoever it is that would speak to you personally and make you want to believe them. Could even be a long-lost pet.
Well, yeah,
could be a long-lost pet. Yeah, so his supposition is that at death, is going into the light, you're summoned by some avatar that's going to be to your liking, to your desire, to your want, and that avatar is going to summon you, even possibly a pet of yours.
Most dangerous poison is the one that baits you to eat it, man.
Right. And so what these near-death experiences will experience is these beings, whatever type of being that would have the most influence on them appears. A 15-foot Jesus appears to a Christian.
He takes it to Jesus.
Starts showing them a light.
I told you this was going to go Christian or anti-Christian at some point, right?
Yeah, the name Jesus means earth pig and hail Zeus, right?
Yeah, he's a big enough researcher. He should know that by now.
Life review of their entire life, picking specific areas, usually that have to do with fear, guilt, or shame, and then showing you like, hey, see, remember this time? And then you'll see the entire experience and feel it from everyone's perspective, including your own and whoever was influenced by you.
So everything that you've done is going to be completely exposed. You're not going to be able to hide from any of it. But yet you think that this is some bad spirit that's just coming to trick you, but it has the ability to openly look at all the mistakes you made. That's what Eric's afterlife experience is going to be.
Yeah, there's a contradiction there, because why would it set a moral code and then call you to the review of that? So this is one of the afterlife experiences that is often talked about. So people will say they went to a light and then there was a review, right? And in this review, everything will be called up. You'll be able to experience what took place from all vantage points, right? This is another great simulation evidence. And now he's saying that this is a trick, right? They're just showing,
even though you did those things,
they're just showing you the things that you did to trick you into coming back here again, right?
And so it's like you're getting inundated with the karma, the result.
Karma, he's the karma guy. It's the reason
I mean,
why he doesn't eat meat, right? Because of the bad karma.
The thing that gets me is, makes me emotional too. It does get me really, for someone to come out here and say that he's some empathetic guy, and then you hear the way that he talks about karma, like it's something that he's going to spit on. It just upsets me. That's all.
Yeah, because that right there is a scorecard as far as whether or not you were righteous or wicked throughout a lifetime. All right. If you translate the word karma, which is of like Eastern religion origin, it translates to the biblical version of being judged for being righteous or wicked. And he scoffs at it.
Of whatever you
play it again. Listen to him, people. You can hear the wounds in him.
Areas usually that have to do with fear, guilt, or shame, and then showing you like, hey, see, remember this time? And then you'll see the entire experience and feel it from everyone's perspective, including your own and whoever was influenced by you. And so it's like you're getting inundated with the karma, the results of whatever you did in this fucked up reality.
Holding you accountable. That's what he's scoffing at.
Now all of a sudden there's an excuse. Whatever you did in this effed up reality, right? So because it's a bad reality, now he scoffs at the idea of being judged for what he did. Because it's not his fault anymore. It's the creator's fault for having made such an effed up reality.
So, like I said, this reality is pretty gray. It's not black or white.
Yeah.
And so if we lived in a white reality, karma would be a pretty easy thing to do.
If we lived in the white reality where there was no wickedness, nobody was lying, cheating, stealing, or harming, you wouldn't have the opportunity to show what type of a person you are. Right? If there's no lies, cheating, stealing, you wouldn't. If you just went about the day, you had the eternal body. You didn't have to eat meat. You didn't have to drink water. You didn't need to shelter from cold and stuff like this. You didn't have a body that deteriorated. If you lived in that white world, you wouldn't have the ability to show what you would do if you had wicked options. Right? So we are in a testing period for sure.
But if you lived in a gray or black reality, suddenly karma is more of a obstacle than
almost like a weight wrapped around your neck.
A weight.
Exactly.
Having to be accountable for your actions, they just said, is a weight around your neck.
That is their standpoint. No, you be good to be good, and if you're bad, suffer a punishment for it. That's
many people follow these guys. So
pretty
many
basic.
people. Eric has such a footprint online. People I care about. I wonder if they're being influenced by this guy too. He doesn't feel like,
I was influenced by him originally. I was.
You hear him talking about he doesn't want to be held accountable for anything, yet he's a teacher. He's putting himself up here to mind control the masses. And then he's saying, anyone who comes to me and tells me to remember how I led somebody in the wrong path, he's just going to say, screw you, I'm going to make my own world. That's what's going on here, you guys.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
And that's what happens in these transitional spaces with these beings of light that come and show you your life review. They're always pointing out these areas where you didn't do the best, and then giving you the opportunity to reincarnate in a new life. And this time, this guy, he'll be your son instead of your father.
Let's take a look at this. Anybody that's listening on the other side of the screen right now that's a parent that has a child, that child needs to be disciplined and shown what it did was wrong. Do you just think like Eric because you're an empath? You just let them get away with it? No, you discipline your child. You love them. You want them to be the best they can be. And sometimes that means, denying them certain types of comfort. Being a parent, being the creator who created us, we couldn't even fathom that his creation would turn on him like this and lead others so far away. How can any parent listen to Eric talk about these things and not just be absolutely triggered by this man's wounded soul? He's very wounded. And I just have to point that out, that people really need to pay attention to what he's saying.
Or he'll be your friend instead of your enemy, and you can right all the wrongs that you made in this life.
All right, so he's talking about reincarnation from the standpoint of you can be his friend and he was your enemy, that type of stuff. So we don't know technically all the ins and out of karma as far as how reincarnation works, the way things are balanced. We don't. The scriptures don't go into that much detail about it. We do know from the scriptures that there is a precedence for if you kill somebody by the sword, right, then you shall be killed by the sword, that type of stuff. So what he's talking about is role reversals, where when you reincarnate, if you were wicked, then that would be reversed on you, and that type of a process taking place. We don't have proof of that. That's supposition. But that is the concept that is being talked about here by Eric.
And ultimately, it's always getting you to consent to going back into the light and then getting reincarnated into a new body. But what always goes along with that is the memory wipe. So, and this is so...
I gotta say this, you guys on the other side of the screen. Listen, okay? We have soul families, okay? In here with us. We're all connected, and we have lineage, spiritually, not physically, that are here. So if you know that your kin, just imagine how Adam would feel, the first creator, the first created being, if how he knew that his generations were going to be in here too. And he got to the life review, and they said, you can let them just go off to the path of destruction, or you can go back into the game and fight for righteousness, to do the will of the Heavenly Father here on earth, to make this place the righteous realm that Eric says he wants to go and create. We're not reincarnating here just for ourselves. We do this for others. This is the thing that I don't understand, how they don't even have any concept of. These highly educated men that have done the research don't understand that our loved ones are here. We may not even be with those people right now. But there's a very good chance. And if you're lucky, right, if you live a righteous life and you try to do the things that the world needs to be done, you get glimpses. You get glimpses from the Creator. He gives it to you in dreams. He gives it to you in subtle things that happen throughout your day. You start to get synchronicities. But the other thing that Eric is completely neglecting to discuss here is the concept of morphogenetic fields. How the collective species of each kind and type is actually imprinted upon each new generation. So in actuality, we all have connections to all our previous ancestors. We're all connected. We're all one. This karmic game of life, we can call it, for the lack of a better term, there's a huge reward-based system here. We come in here and we suffer, and we do it for the ones that we love, so that when we get to the next place that Eric wants to go and create, we've actually created the experience with them. They will know, our works will walk before us. And whether you dug a pit and fell into it, or you took a slingshot and created so much force that you fly up into eternity, into the sky, that is going to be up to everybody on the other side of the screen. But we always need to understand that we're not just coming back into the light for our own selves, right? That's what a narcissist would say. Someone that's a true empath that understands what's going on right now, that human words don't even do it justice. This is about our kin. This is about our brothers and sisters of the light that was created in the beginning. We are here together. We do this work because we got to reach them. We got to help them remember who they are. That's the goal here. And having somebody come out and tell you that the light is wrong, that you're incarnating because you're being trapped here to feed some loose system. What about the lost souls? What about the military saying that we never leave a wounded soldier behind, right? Where do you think that came from? Where do you guys think that came from? That came from ascended, reincarnated spirits that come back here to die. They come back here to die for their family members. This is not a joke. What these men are up here talking to you guys about is absolutely eternal and so important for people to understand that this, I can't even believe some of the things, reincarnated soul trap, where I'm coming in here to save my kin. I'm here. I'm willing to take on the world, the punishment and the pain and everything that he says. I do that absolutely for others, so that there may be more at this other place that Eric wants to go and build. And it absolutely breaks my heart that how can someone just be so narcissistic to not even see that there's a bigger story going on here, and we're learning it. We don't know it all. It has to be built through experience. Nothing is worth having unless you earn it. I don't understand this. These are the highest spiritual teachers in the realm right now, and this is what they're telling you: reincarnated soul trap. And I'm here for my kin. I'm here to die for them if I have to, and for you on the other side of the screen. But this is what we have to go against. And of course, we're the most censored. We get no views, and that's fine. I don't do this for the earthly riches. I don't need to have any woman. I don't need to have a big fancy car. What I need is to find my kin and tell them that they're going to be okay, that this pain is going to end. And we know that because we've been doing this for almost 6,000 years.
I also want to point out that he is operating from the supposition that reincarnating here is a choice, right? Because he's got no evidence that it's a choice either.
So contrary to what they're saying, because they say that, oh, life is a school, oh, it's all about karma, oh, this world, all the negative stuff is so you can learn and grow
if you
from
can't
it.
remember it,
How
then
can you grow
learn?
if you can't remember it? Exactly.
Yeah.
So
all right, so this is a big issue that both of these guys are taking from this, that how can you grow if you can't remember it? So so being born into this world, just think about it, everybody. Every spirit that's in this world has come in through the womb of a woman. You were born as an infant. So
Except for Adam.
Or Eve. She came out of...
And Eve. That's correct.
Yeah. But other than that, everybody was born in through this world. So you come in through the womb, and the spirit, right? These guys, while Eric's a materialist, he's also an anti-materialist. The spirit attaches itself to that growing baby, and then when it comes out, it gets to experience the world like it's an erased hard drive, right?
It has to rebuild. It has to rebuild again.
Mm-hmm. Now, outside of this world, chances are we have our memories spanning our whole existence, right? But when we come into this world, we're allowed to actually experience from the time that we're born to the time that we die. And it's a clean slate every time. So every time you come in here, you do come in with a clean slate, and it's every choice that you make after that that karma accrues against. It's whether or not you make good, righteous choices or wicked, evil choices.
So it's more like they are harnessing some type of energy or our souls, our consciousness. They want us here, and they're tricking us to coming back here over and over again, when in reality, once we leave this body, we become way more
free.
powerful. Yeah, potentially we are, completely
To quote
powerful.
a movie made by a very interesting member of a certain tribe there, strike me down and I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. He's got a point out by a certain tribe, a certain movie by a certain tribe. And so now they throw their heads back in glee. They are so much more powerful once they're out of the body. They're like Obi-Wan, right?
I didn't think of that quote in this context, but yes, exactly. We all do that. When we become strucken down, we become infinitely more powerful than we are in this reality, in these bodies. And instantly, some agents from the Matrix always come in whatever form will be most influential to us.
All right, so agents from the Matrix. Now all of a sudden, we're in a simulation. Right? Eric won't talk to us because we debunked the Freemason New World Order AE map and model. But all of a sudden, we're in a Matrix and we're reincarnating. That's literally the narrative that we've been fighting for. Come on, dude.
To get us to feel guilty about this or that thing that happened in this life so that we'll consent to coming right.
Again, what do you mean? Who's trying to make you feel guilty, bro? If you've done something wrong, you should feel guilty. No one has to tell you. If people have to tell you you should feel guilty, there's something wrong. What is he saying?
That he wouldn't feel guilty unless if somebody came along and said, hey, you just killed that guy. That's not good, right?
Back here once again. But, I mean, why? Well, give me a second. Can I get my, let me figure out this whole afterlife soul without a body floating around, moving at the speed of thought thing? Can I? And this is what.
And why would they rush you? Why would anyone want to rush you? Why would any entity be trying to push you to go as quick as possible when time?
Again, these are all suppositions. Yeah. None of these are their own experiences. They already admitted that. Now they're taking it to a supposition where this agent of the Matrix is rushing them as if they know.
And I do recall from even before Flat Earth, it's probably at least 10 years ago, that I was already hearing these narratives of don't go to the light.
Yes, I researched it. It was in a Star Trek show, right? The Q guy in the Star Trek show, he, told them that it was a trick and it was a woman and she was tricked, and then the episode ended. They didn't go back into the light.
Nothing to you. It's immaterial, right? It's non-existent essentially. It's something that you can reach into, like it's a pool of water or something, yet you can remain completely out of. Why would you need to? It's time is imperative. Come on, act. The system that we live in very much so seems to bear all these same hallmarks, does it not?
Exactly. Right. It seems like these governments, this new world order, these secret societies, and this system of evil that operates in the physical world in this dimension, there may be an element of that in the other dimension that keeps us coming back here. People in most of the world's major religions now have this idea that whatever created this realm is 100% benevolent and good, and you should want nothing more than to reincarnate here. But what if there's better places? What if you can create your own better place and have other people come? What if
there's better places? What if you can create better places and other people can come? So these are wild speculations, of which, like you've already pointed out, they have no knowledge of. So these are just wild, vain imaginations.
If there's all these other souls in a sovereign area of the afterlife realm who are able to co-create and bleep in and out of each other's co-created worlds, and this one is more like a prison where we cannot leave it until we die. And it seems that way, like the way dreams work and the way sleep works is like, why do we?
All right, so I just want to point out that at this point, this one's the prison. He talked about why he came into it earlier, how all these other spirits were just baffled why he would come back in. So right now he's like claiming to be a dupe, that he was fooled into coming back here, and now he's wise enough that he won't again. If you really sit down and analyze this, the fact that you're here right now means that you have to be here, right? If you didn't want to be here, if you had some other choice available, there's a good chance that you would have figured it out already and you wouldn't be here. So the fact that you're here is good reason to believe that you have to be here.
Why do we have to sleep so often? What is dreams? What is it? Or out of body experiences and all this stuff? It's like our real being is intangible. It's an immortal soul, and we're being tricked to coming into this body in this subpar realm, this subpar dimension.
Subpar realm, subpar dimension. He's got such a better world for you to come to. In his world, you can do anything. You can bleep in, you can bleep out. Just come chill for a little bit. This is subpar. This is garbage reality in Eric's world.
Ruled by evil psychopaths, and even when we die, we get tricked to coming back in here rather than exploring the potentially infinite multiverse of much better dimensions that are most likely out there.
So now that that's concluded, I want to state that as the beginning of this podcast started, Eric and his friend here stated that they contacted the Book of the Dead, right? And that's what they went from into this presupposed scripted podcast that they just had. And what I want people on the other side of the screen to know is, if you want to know about what the Book of the Dead is and being dead, I want you guys to follow Eric and do everything that he tells you. Go for it. Because if you guys want to know about the Book of Life, right, you're going to want to hang around with us. And I'm just going to put it out straight and plain. You've got the Book of the Dead and you've got the Book of the Life. The choice is going to be yours on the other side of the screen. We both have reincarnation. We both understand that it's a virtual reality, supernatural realm, right? The difference is that we believe the Creator is beautiful and loving and kind, and that he's had to suffer patiently for almost 6,000 years, if not over 6,000 years now, for the wicked to be cleansed, for the experiences to be had like they mocked and scoffed, and for people to earn things, to fight for their kin, to create true eternal relationships that we've been doing here. And if you want to know about the Book of the Life, hang around with us. If you want the Book of the Dead, you want to read the dead people, and you want to let the dead bury and concern themselves with the dead, come ye with us into the light of life.
Yeah, so he has a pinned comment, and in his pinned comment, he's got a whole bunch of links. The first one is the 3 links that he continually referenced throughout the video. So the bottom one is a website that just references the top 2 links. The top link is a guy that has a YouTube channel sort of talking about after-death experiences or out-of-body experiences or that type of stuff. And then the middle channel is the one that actually spins the narrative just like Eric is doing right here. So
by an evil designer.
Evil designer. So that's the Overwatch channel. And
I know.
I'm just going to back up here. I had noticed just by hovering over his thumbnail earlier that I saw Mark Passio's stuff show up. And so this...
There it is.
This right here is what the Overwatch channel. So this is the stuff that Eric Dubay is referencing as being the foundation for what he's speculating about. And so let's take a look at what his supporting evidence is.
Stuff contains a lot of truth. It does contain a lot of truth. But let me.
He's talking about Passio now. He's saying, oh, this stuff contains a whole bunch of truth. He's going to step outside of Passio's ideologies a little bit, and he's going to overstand them. So that makes it interesting. The Eric, these 2 other YouTube channels, that one website, that they're going to go a step beyond Mark Passio now. the guy that Ronnie's pointed out is Anton LaVey ordained.
Let me give you an example of how I think some of this stuff gets it wrong. So Mark Passio is very closed-minded, I think, because he gets very angry. He's very sure of himself and kind of very agitated. Some of the stuff that I figure out is because I go into the whole process of absorbing what somebody's telling me, and then it takes me a while to figure out what's wrong with it, if that makes any sense. So Mark Passio, for example, or the anarchist movement or the natural rights movement out there.
All right, so he just lumped together a big network of content, and that's the sovereign, natural law, that whole group of people. He's just lumped them all together, and he did a great job. They are all the same.
That promotes natural law, which is essentially the same rights that is spelled out in our Bill of Rights in the United States. It's the rights of every individual sovereignty. It's the sovereignty and the nature of the individual. The problem is, and one of the things that I think I can say is that Mark Passio and others like him have the entire thing backward, inverted. So, for example, Mark Passio thinks he's trying to fix the world. He's trying to fix the world because there is such a thing as natural law and natural rights, and that for some reason these things are hidden from us, and that therefore we need to fix the world to get that back on track. And I think in actuality it's inverted. Mark Passio, he doesn't understand, I don't think he understands this. He's trying to break the world. He's trying to wreck it, because the world, in my theory, is completely working as designed, as intended. It's an evil place designed by an evil designer, and it is a reincarnation, soul matrix, a loosh farm.
So as he cut down Passio, right? What he did is they set him up as the opposition with Passio's actual statements. So Passio takes a step back. This guy comes in and then completely inverts it. Completely.
Yeah, he takes it to a place that Passio's not even capable of taking it, because he's, as was shown, he's a heliocentric materialist. So he thinks that he lives on a spinning ball. He thinks that everything's made up of atoms. He can't take it to a matrix reincarnation soul trap, right?
Well, not really, but what he can do is he can say that, Passio is the white knight, right? Fighting against the loosh creator, the evil, wicked creator, right? That's what he just said.
That really is it. So this guy also believes that we're in a matrix and that the creator is wicked and evil.
You can call it lots of different things. They all kind of mean the same thing. This place is working as intended. You consented to be here, and you can not consent after you finish this mortal life. When your physical body dies, you cannot consent, and then you can be free. That's why this particular...
I just want to go back here. So this guy...
You cannot consent, and then you...
This guy shares the other guy. The other guy shares this guy. And then there's a website that shares both of them. So I really only see two characters involved in this, plus Eric and his guy that he was talking to. So this is really a limited, small team, yet this is the new narrative that is coming out of the Mark Passio camp.
You can be free. That's why this particular
That's the other website right there, Forever Consciousness Research Channel. He loves it. All they do is throw props back and forth to each other.
Analysis from Forever Consciousness with William Baldwin is probably a must listen to. I think this one is probably the best podcast I've heard about the death process and getting free from here. But essentially, the whole point is that the freedom, the real freedom, comes from not consenting, because everything is done through consent. Now, in the physical world, we exist in these mortal bodies with amnesia, with a tremendous amount of cognitive issues. Our consciousness is essentially severely handicapped via our physical body and our brain. So we're afraid. Well, you can lose your fear of death. There are so many people so terrified of death, yet it's inevitable. Everybody here dies eventually. That it's kind of like this really psychotic behavior where you'll do anything to stay alive, including subjugate yourself. And there's a difference. So there's a difference between.
All right, so that's enough of that. It's basically, you can hear now that Eric and the other guy were spewing the exact same narrative. No differences. It was a total regurgitation of the exact same concept of us being in a matrix where we have an evil creator and you have the sovereignty, you have the soul right, you're a sovereign citizen of the universe, and you don't have to come back here again. So Eric has said he doesn't want to come back. I think the other guy said he doesn't want to come back. We've got a bunch of characters that are revolting and saying that they don't want to come back anymore. But that leaves the question, is that an option? So, I don't know, do you have those scriptures, brother, from Enoch?
I do, but we are at 10 o'clock now, unfortunately.
All right. Well, 4 minutes too. Should we save this for another time, or do you want to let them? We can summarize. We can summarize what took place in Enoch. Basically,
I got it up. Go ahead.
Do you want to read it?
No, if you got it, you can go ahead too.
I don't have it. I was going to summarize it.
Well, I guess you just keep the screen share. I can summarize it so we get a little bit of an understanding here. This book is the word of righteousness and of reproof for the watchers who are from eternity, and as the Holy and Great One commanded in that vision. This is Enoch. And I saw in my sleep what I will now tell you with the tongue of flesh and with my breath, which the Great One has given men in the mouth, so that they might speak with it and understand with their heart. As he created and appointed men to understand the word of knowledge, so too he created me and appointed me to reprove the watchers and the sons of heaven. It goes on to state, and I wrote out your petition, but in my vision thus it appeared, that your petition would not be granted unto you for all the days of eternity, and complete judgment had been decreed against you. You will not have peace, and from now on you will not ascend into heaven for all of eternity, and it has been decreed that you will be bound on the earth for all the days of eternity. And before this, you will have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and you will know, and you will not enjoy with them anymore, but they will fall before you by the sword, and your petition will not be granted in respect of them or in respect of yourselves. And while you weep and supplicate, you do not speak a single word from the writings which I have written. And the vision appeared to me as follows. Behold, the clouds called unto me, and I became in the midst of them. And the path of the stars and the flashes of the lightning hastened me and drove me. And in this vision, the winds caused me to fly and hastened me and lifted me up into the sky. So what Enoch just wrote about, if I scroll back up here, it says here, the book of reproof, the notes that are here, it says, this is the reply to the runaways letter. The judgment is outlined in Enoch 14:4-7, and they are bound here on earth. This could mean endless reincarnation. Presumably that they would know exactly what that meant. And the deaths of their sons is predicted again in verse 14:7. And they further criticized from their petition. The section 14:8, it clearly says that Enoch goes into detail about how he saw the vision. And it sounds like Enoch was lifted up into the sky. He was given these visions and experiences, and the angels that we're talking about here that have been condemned here for endless reincarnation. If you were to continue reading on in the book of Enoch, it states that the creator, when he meets with Enoch, he tells them that you go and tell them that they only knew the beginnings of the plan. They had no idea about any of the creation story and why this was planned. And they were condemned here. Now, these are the same people, the same spirits that want to create their own realm, just like Eric, but they're bound here. And so too are we. This isn't a choice that we've made. We did make a choice to incarnate here, but once you're in the game. And we know that it's a 7-day game, and a day in heaven is 1,000 years here on earth. And we're just approaching the final day, which is an actual 1,000 years of peace. But first, all this wicked stuff has to be done with. And it all had to be brought out into light. Everybody had to come back into the understanding of who they were, why they were here. The whole plan and story is going to be beautifully shown to everyone. It's going to be put in our hearts, and we're going to see things that we never knew, we didn't think, we didn't understand, but it's all coming to the light. And again, we liken under Eric's entire mission, Mark Passio, all these guys, they all have the same story. Where we go one, we go all. It's the fallen angel story, guys. They saw beautiful women. They said, hey, let's make our own earthly bodies, and we'll have kids. And they did that, and they were wicked, and the creator judged them. So we know that their children, the Nephilim, it says, do nothing but torment. They torment us. They torment you in your minds. They torment other people, and people give into them because that's the way that it is. And we're here to say that you don't have to be a part of that team. Like, you can come and deal with the living, not with the dead. So that's all I wanted to add there.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing those scriptures. Eric constantly talks about the New World Order elites, the evil, wicked people in the world. Yeah, so they would be the ones that are the fallen, that are either reincarnating or they're possessing the spirits of people that are alive at the time. And that is the reason why this world is wicked and evil as it is. Now that time is coming to an end where those people are going to be cleared out. So I highly recommend that you don't be on the side of the Kabbalists. They're a walking contradiction. They want to say that everything's made up of atoms and we're in a material world. And then at the same time, they want to say that we're in a simulation and we're reincarnating.
Matrix soul trap.
But don't go into the light. So
the Matrix soul trap.
Yeah. It doesn't work. It's a contradiction. So it's up to you. You're going to decide which path you're going to go down. Are you going to turn from the light and walk away from the creator of this world because Eric said he's a meanie and a bad guy? Or are you going to see the narrative that the wicked are really the reason why this world sucks so much, and that this has been a filtering process to get rid of them? So it's going to come down to those two choices, and you're going to have to decide, everyone. It's been a great night.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I enjoyed it. I hope that everybody on the other side of the screen got something out of this.
I do too. So I'll take us out with our intro, and chances are we'll see all this Wednesday night, everyone. Where's the only place anyone's going to hear this, brother?
Only on the Yahawahashai News Network. Yeah, they messed with us.
Have you heard of what they call the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap?
In this hangout, we are going through a new Eric Dubay video where he talks about not wishing to reincarnate in this matrix again. This creates a massive contradiction on Eric's part, yet we agree that we are reincarnating in a virtual world. Eric's worldview is that of Kabbalism. Our view comes from the Bible and other holy scriptures that the Vatican removed. Tonight, you get to choose whether or not the Kabbalist path of out of this world or the Christian path to stay in this world is for you.
You will not have peace, and from now on you will not ascend up into the heavens for all of eternity. And it has been decreed that you'll be bound to the earth for all of the days of eternity. And before this, you will have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and you will not be able to enjoy them, but they will fall before you by the sword. And your petition will not be granted in respect of them or in respect of yourselves.
I just wanna get it right.
perhaps this world isn't 100% perfect in the sense of how all religions praise the Creator as being wholly benevolent and good. But what I see is a world of disease, aging, torture, death, natural disasters, psychopaths, parasites, carnivores. There are so many things that happen in this world that if I was the creator, I wouldn't put them in the world, especially if I wanted to create a perfect world.